Hi, this is Renee Michelle, and welcome to another episode of Spiritual Awareness. Today, we're going to discuss physical abuse. I'm using the major arcana cards of the deck. I'm not using the full deck so that we can get a more clear description and more clear message from the divine, from God, from angels, from the spirit guides that are around some of you guys trying to help you through this process. Physical abuse. So for the main and the blockage for you is the main blockage from the past is what is limiting your self growth and your spiritual growth and your spiritual healing is the death card. Taking this as a literal sense and just being dead inside, right? Not having the feeling or the emotion anymore. It's like you're numb, right? Because if you attach to those feelings and emotions, it doesn't work. It seems like they get a stronger high and a stronger just gets stronger when you show emotionally how bad it is and how it hurts you, and if you just take it, then you're better off, you know. So there's this cut off of emotion, this dead feeling, like there's nothing in there, like you're just a shell, because that's the only way to cope with it. That's the only way to have a hold of it, to understand it, to grow with it, is to just to deal with it. In order to deal with it, you can't have any attachment to any emotional feeling, right? But here's the thing: if you feel emotionally what's going on, if you tap into to the hurt and the pain, the abuse becomes hard to deal with, and so you have to move and make a change. But when you're dead inside, you can stay for so long. You could stay for years and years and years because you're numb, right? This is one of the main mistakes that people make when they're in a physical abusive situation, is the numbing of oneself of emotional feeling or attachment, in order to gain some kind of strength in the situation, to be able to have some kind of bearings or ground in the situation. But you're not supposed to bear it, and you're not supposed to be grounded in it. If you feel the emotions of somebody beating on you, if you feel the pain and the anguish of it, you're forcing your spirit and your body to move from it. How it affects the relationships with others in the past. I got the Hangman. And how I see this is that that you leave a lot of situations in limbo. They just wonder what happened to you, because once they get a whiff, once they get a inkling of what is really going on in your world, you leave the relationship stagnant. You just disappear. You leave them standing there like, what happened to him? What happened to her? She's just gone. He's just gone. You leave a lot of your relationships in limbo, with the other person wondering, are they okay? Are they all right? And they call you, they text you, they ask you, are you okay? What's going on with you? I haven't heard from you, blah, blah, blah. Some of you leave jobs, just leave. Because somebody says something like, yo, what's with all these bruises you always have? Or what's what you always calling out? And what's with you always saying you sick? Or, you wear a lot of makeup. You're so pretty. You don't need that much makeup. When they start to know too much. When they start to guess. And then it comes to the point where you have no friends, no family, no associates, no nothing. Because anybody that gets beyond the surface is going to figure out that somebody is hurting you physically, emotionally, spiritually. How it's affecting your present relationship, right? I have the Lover's card. And this tells me that you focus on the love, on the family. I have my kids, I have my husband, I have my kids, I have my wife. And you focus on that. You know what I'm saying? Having this complete family, this complete way of life. Loving them regardless of what they do, because you understand that they come from a place of hurt. But just because they come from a place of hurt doesn't mean that they should hurt you. It doesn't make it okay for them to hurt you. It's a reason why they hurt you. But they can't do that. It's not possible. That doesn't work. So looking at this situation and making this perfect picture, right? And know how the outside world sees you, this perfect picture of happiness and love and family. It's not the truth. But you can make this because you don't feel. Lessons that can be learned from it, right? Again, I get the Hierophant card. I get the Hierophant card in this position more than once, and then it's about religion and health and growth and prosperity and teaching yourself. You know what I'm saying? Growing in strength. That's the tree. Right? What you need to learn is, if you trust in God, you can get out of it. You can move forward through it. You don't have to stay stagnant and sad, you know what I mean? Trust in your God. Go to your organized religion, they'll help. They will help you out of that situation. They will move you from it. They will help you. Learn that God is the answer. And see how he's sitting all relaxed and calm, and and okay in that peace, you can have this, right? That this is obtainable. This moment of solitude and peace where you realize you grow this big tree of strength. And now you're able to lean back on it and just be peace with yourself and at peace with your world. Learning that God was there for you the whole time. Learning that God will be there through all of this. And if you're not religious, you have to find peace within yourself. The knowing that you'll be okay regardless. The knowing that you understand and the lesson is that you are okay and that you're worth more than this. You built this tree, now lean on it and get the hell out of there. A religion is about you can have so many different religions, right? Doesn't matter. Some believe in God, some don't. Just don't believe in devilish stuff. I mean, really, come on. But it gives you a positive outlook, like Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim. That understanding, that peace, right? You need some form, if you're not trusting God, to meditate, right? And get at peace and go to a higher place where you can get some understanding of why you went through what you went through. Maybe you went through it to become a counselor or a teacher or a psychologist to understand and to let people know the distinct characteristics of abuse and how it becomes a pattern. Then let me go back to this card. Because your children are watching this, right? Your kids are watching this, and this is where the pattern is created. You don't want your kids to be abusers, but what they're having is the daughter is knowing that this is how I'm supposed to be treated, and the son is knowing that this is how I'm supposed to treat my women. They're learning a bad lesson, and if you don't find the peace, right, in yourself and the okay to be with self and understand self and grow, then you can't teach them the right way. You can't find that love that is right so you can show them a man that treats you good. Show your son how a woman is really supposed to be treated before he grows up. Show your daughter how she is supposed to be treated before she grows up. Make sure that your children have this love and this self-worth and this self-understanding so that they don't end up being abused. It stops with you. Steps that you could take towards healing yourself from this it's very simple. You have to go towards the happiness, basking in the sun and in the glory, and going towards that whole eternal bliss and eternal peace. Healing yourself by removing yourself from a situation so that you can have bliss. I'm currently in a situation where my apartment had fumes, so I had to leave that apartment. But instead of going back home to my family, my abusers, I'm on the lam. I rent hotel rooms, I do what I can, and I make sure I get the message to y'all. And this is my bliss, this is my peace. It's better to have peace of mind and be homeless than to be in an abusive situation. So here's the thing, if you feel like, oh well, then I'm going to be homeless, then I'm going to be jobless, but you will have your peace of mind. You'll have peace. You know that every day that you walk this earth, the moment you leave, that you don't have to be hit no more. That you don't have to be hurt no more. That in itself, right? It's worth enduring shelters, enduring staying with family, enduring anything that you possibly can to keep your children and yourself and keep yourself at peace mentally and spiritually. Because right there, that's where the healing process begins, when you no longer have to be involved or be tormented by a specific individual every minute of the day. Everything that you do, as far as where you have to be at a certain time, when you have to get there, all has to do with you keeping this perfect schedule and being at their beck and call so that you don't get hit, so that you don't get physically hurt. You got to do whatever it takes so you don't have to get physically hurt. So if you would go through that length, right, to do all these things and go through all these hoops to keep from getting physically beat up, then why wouldn't you go through all these hoops to obtain your happiness and obtain your eternal bliss? Why wouldn't you? There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Because if you could do all those things you do on a daily basis, as stressful, painful situations that you put yourself in to make sure that everything works perfectly so that your abuser doesn't whoop your ass, then why can't you go through every hoop? Why can't you go through all those things to be at peace of mind and have peace? Just for all those hoops, just for knowing that every day that you live from now on, you don't have to get hit. Okay, so the guiding principle, the spiritual principle that you need to move forward in the future towards healing yourself, is to take the time for yourself. Remove yourself from the negativity and the negative people, right? And really take time to yourself to understand why you let this happen and where it all stemmed from and where it all came from, right? Pinpoint that moment in your life where you lost your self-worth, where you lost your self-dignity, where you lost your self-esteem. It could be 2. It could be 6. It could be 12. It could be 16, 20, 35, 40, 50, 70, whenever. And rebuild your self-worth. How, Renee? How? By taking the time to look back on your life and understand the individual times where you let someone else continue to take away your self-worth and your self-esteem. Recognizing these people now so that in the future, when the red flags come up and you see this individual, the ones that are very nice and charming, but they have an aggressive side, you run. That builds your self-esteem and your self-worth. Leaving your abuser and never going back definitely increases your self-worth. Building the self-esteem and self-worth back up in your children that this experience is taken away, whether you realize it or not, builds your self-worth and your self-esteem. When you see that your kids have their regaining their self-esteem, because they're quick learners. When they're standing up for themselves in their own rights, because mommy did, or because daddy did.